The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out. I do see a long-term ownership position, and I see it bringing great stability to that part of the Middle East and maybe the entire Middle East. Everybody I've spoken to loves the idea of the United States owning that piece of land, developing and creating thousands of jobs with something that will be magnificent.
Hello guys, and welcome to the J Report. Well, the world was left stunned when the newly re-elected president, Donald Trump, made a shocking announcement. He said that the United States will take control of the Gaza Strip, relocating its Palestinian residents, and turn the region into a so-called Riviera of the Middle East. The proposal has sparked massive controversy, with supporters calling it a bold new vision and critics warning of a humanitarian and diplomatic disaster. Well, in today's video, we'll break down what this means for Gaza, the United States, and the world. And so without further ado, guys, let's go straight into this video. So first of all, let's talk about the Gaza itself. The Gaza Strip is a 141 square mile territory along the Mediterranean coast, bordered by Israel and Egypt. It's home to over 2.1 million Palestinians, making it one of the most densely populated places on earth. The region has been at the center of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict for decades, with repeated wars, economic struggles, and a devastating blockade that has left many of its residents living in dire conditions. So, what exactly is Trump proposing? His plan involves the United States taking control of Gaza, forcibly relocating Palestinians to neighboring countries like Egypt and Jordan, and then redeveloping Gaza into a tourist and economic hub. The goal, he claims, is to eliminate terrorism and create prosperity. But the reality of this plan is far more complicated. Well, first, let's hear the reaction of the Gaza people.
Gaza Strip is not a free land for anyone to grab it. The Gaza Strip, it belongs to the Palestinian people and the Palestinian people who live in the Gaza Strip. It is not a free piece of land for anyone to grab. Those days in history are gone. Every piece of land in any country belongs to the people who live on this piece of land. Therefore, we are determined to stay in the Gaza Strip, and it is not true that they don't have an alternative, because the people who were in the southern part of the Gaza Strip, when the checkpoints of the Israeli occupying forces were removed from the midsection between the north and the south, 400,000 in a span of 2 days, 2 hours each day, walked on their feet to go back to the northern part.
بلادنا بدهم دولتين حياهم الله، بدهم مش احنا قاعدين. ما بدنا نروح، بنروح اي مكان بلادنا وبلاد جدودنا. هذه هم اللي اجوا من اخر الدنيا، اجوا عنا قاعدين بذبحوا بدمروا بهجروا في الناس وبخافوهم بالتدمير وبالقتل. يعني احنا قاعدين في ارضنا هنا وصامدين، اللي بده يعمر مش حجه انه يطلعنا برا وبحجه انه يعمرنا. طب ما انت من الاساس انت اللي ساعدت اسرائيل على الدمار اللي احنا شايفينه هذا، عشان هيك بدك تعمرنا واحنا موجودين على هذه الارض. ما فيش فيها انه لازم نطلع عشان تعمرنا مقابل احنا ما نطلع.
بالنسبة لتصريحات ترامب هذه إشي مش منطقي. كيف إحنا عشنا الحرب سنة و4 شهور وفي الآخر يجي هو يعطي تصريحات وإن إحنا نطلع منها من أرضنا، هذه أرضنا وأرض أجدادنا، فصعب نطلع منها، أو هو يجيب سكان تانيين آخرين يسكنوا فيها. فلا، الإشي هذا بإذن رب العالمين مش حيصير ومش حنطلع من بلادنا ومن أرضنا.
ليش نتهجر؟ هينا قاعدين راضيين نعيش على ركام بيوتنا ومكان بيوتنا، ولا نطلع للذل برا. يعني قعدنا 1.5 سنة واحنا نتدبح ونتدمر وننفرم في الحرب وفي القصف وفي الدمار، في الاخر نطلع بكل سهولة. ما راح نطلع من هذه الارض. الارض ارضنا، او هم اللي يطلعوا منها، مش احنا اللي نطلع منها.
Well, as you have seen, most of the Gaza people are against this move. And for the people of Gaza, this plan is nothing short of catastrophic. First and foremost, forcing 2.1 million people to leave their homes is a clear violation of international law. Human rights groups and world leaders have already condemned the proposal, calling it ethnic cleansing. Palestinians themselves have vowed not to leave voluntarily. Imagine being told you have no choice but to abandon your home, your history, your culture. I mean, just so someone else can build luxury resorts on your land. Another major issue is the sheer logistics of relocating an entire population. Where would they even go? And as in, Jordan and Egypt have both rejected the idea, refusing to absorb millions of displaced people. And even if they did, how would they provide housing, jobs, and basic necessities for such a huge influx? I mean, the White House press secretary Caroline Leavitt already said that the US has no intentions of using its funds to develop the Strip. So where is the money coming from?
The president has spent basically his entire public career criticizing foreign entanglements, nation building, sending American troops to fight abroad, particularly in the Middle East. This plan seems like it could ultimately involve all of those things. Can you explain this reversal and how building and owning Gaza squares with America First foreign policy?
I would reject the premise of your question that this forces the United States to be entangled in conflicts abroad. The president has not committed to putting boots on the ground in Gaza. He has also said that the United States is not going to pay for the rebuilding of Gaza. His administration is going to work with our partners in the region to reconstruct this region. And let me just take a step back here, because this is an out-of-the-box idea. That's who President Trump is. That's why the American people elected him. And his goal is lasting peace in the Middle East for all people in the region. And as I said in my opening remarks, we've had the same people pushing the same solutions to this problem for decades. And it's been made very clear to the president that the United States needs to be involved in this rebuilding effort to ensure stability in the region for all people. But that does not mean boots on the ground in Gaza. It does not mean American taxpayers will be funding this effort. It means Donald Trump, who is the best deal maker on the planet, is going to strike a deal with our partners in the region.
He did not rule out American troops in Gaza last night. Are you doing that now?
I am saying that the president has not committed to that just yet. He has not made that commitment, and you know that.
And on the foreign partners, the Jordanians, the Egyptians, the Saudis have already panned this plan. What foreign partners, if any, have expressed any interest in being part of it?
Also, how would this move affect the United States? First of all, just imagine the military costs. If the US takes control of Gaza, it will require a long-term military presence, potentially costing billions of taxpayers' dollars every year. American troops would face resistance, much like they did in Iraq and Afghanistan. The presence of US forces in Gaza would almost certainly make them targets for attacks, increasing the risk of another prolonged conflict. Then there's the economic impact. Occupation and reconstruction would be incredibly expensive, putting further strain on an already stretched federal budget. And let's not forget energy prices. Middle East instability often leads to oil prices spikes, which could lead to higher gas prices in the US and inflationary pressures on the economy. I mean, internationally, the backlash has been swift and severe. The key US allies, including European nations, have strongly opposed the move. The Arab world has reacted with outrage, with Egypt even calling for an emergency Arab League summit. Saudi Arabia has reaffirmed its stance against forced displacement, and even traditionally, US-friendly countries are distancing themselves from the policy.
Trump's plan to ethnically cleanse Gaza has caused shockwaves around the world. But one thing in particular would have made Trump extremely nervous, and it's this statement from Saudi Arabia. It says that Saudi Arabia rejects ethnically cleansing the Palestinians from their land.
The bigger issue here is credibility. The US has long positioned itself as a mediator in Middle Eastern affairs. By forcibly taking Gaza, it would destroy any claim to neutrality and likely end its role in any future peace negotiations. And worse, this move could set a dangerous precedent. If the US can simply take over a foreign territory, what's stopping other nations like Russia or China from doing the same? And so to summarize, I think this plan faces enormous obstacles. Palestinians have vowed to resist. International law is against it, and even within the US, there's growing opposition. Whether this is just rhetoric from Trump or a real policy shift, one thing is for certain: the world is watching. So, what do you think about the Trump plan for Gaza? Do you believe it's a bold strategy for peace and prosperity? Or Is it a reckless move that could have devastating consequences? So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you found this video useful, please also consider subscribing, liking, and sharing. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and until the next time, the Joy Report out.